things.
I was dancing that whole time.
I mean, it's a banger. Thanks to Andrew Huang who did that song.
Such a good song. Thank you, Andrew Huang.
Hello. He's unreal. What's up, y'all?
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to Andrea and Kyah. I'm going to do just a general hello and welcome to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you so much for Sonar to putting the stream together and having Bad Dog be a part of it. And as they were saying, so Bad Dog Comedy TV is on YouTube, but there's also the Bad Dog Comedy podcast, which you can get. It's available on Sonar, and it is a collection of different shows that we've done. But one of our, or I'd say like one of our standout shows has been 5 Things. We've had 3 seasons of it. We have 2 of the previous hosts. Alia is the current host, Alia Siniza Razul, but is not available to join us, but is here in spirit. But we have season 1 and season 2 of 5 Things. We have Kyah Green and Andrea Marston, who I'm very excited to talk with today.
So,
hello, and welcome in. I'm going to be asking each of you, well, I'm going to be asking you 5 things, and each of you will answer. I'm not going to
no
ask
more, no
you
less
individually. Yeah, I'm not going to ask 10 things. And
yeah, because that's in my contract. If you ask me more or less, then unfortunately my lawyers will have to come after you. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a secret. I broke a rule in season 2. I think I did 25 things in an episode. I made like 5 things.
5 categories.
I broke rules.
I think that legally falls into the same situation. I think you're good.
Divisible by 5. Cool.
Also, in my opinion, tangents count as it's not part of the. It's like there's 5 things, and then you can do tangents within the things.
Yes,
that's fine.
I mean, when you're ruling the kingdom, you get to define what 5 things means to you legally. I've been watching a lot of Succession.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Wait, you're Logan Paul. You're Logan then. You're Logan, not Logan Paul.
Logan Paul's a whole other situation.
Hi, if you're Logan Paul, you have to leave right now.
I think if I'm either of those Logans, I should leave right now.
Well, because you started the company. If anything, I'm like Roman. Yes. Anyways,
now there is something that came up today. This isn't part of the 5 things, but this is something that came up today that my mind is a little blown that I didn't know.
Legally.
So Kieran Culkin, Ronan in Succession, younger brother of Macaulay Culkin.
Indeed.
Appeared in Home Alone. He was Fuller.
Yeah.
He was the cousin that the weird. I feel like it's a little outrageous that I only found this out today for several reasons. One, at the time, how was it not everywhere that, and his younger brother Kieran is in the movie? Because Macaulay Culkin was a huge deal. So why wasn't that everywhere at the time?
Maybe it was when we were just children, though.
I feel.
How close were you paying attention to the news?
For years. If that was known at the time, I would know just by proxy. I feel number 2.
Okay.
When Kieran started to become more famous, why was it not immediately the thing they were like, do you guys remember that he was in? I feel like it should be known more. I have no more information other than I just feel like with all the listicles and how many blog TO articles I've seen about these couples were dating in secret, but how did I not know Kieran was Fuller until today?
I'll fully admit I didn't know until I started watching Succession, which was a total of 12 days ago. I'm done now. Anyway, but Steph did tell me that he was Fuller, and so I agree the world has failed us. It is everyone's fault but ours.
Yeah, I just found out I can't hardly speak.
See?
It's also like he's the middle child, because there's a younger Culkin, right? There's a baby Culkin?
It's Kieran. I've been saying it wrong. Well, Tina, that shows you why I don't know.
No, we all didn't know though. We're on a team here. We all have to stand up for each other.
Other Culkin. Okay. There's so many Culkins.
Which other? There's multiple. I thought there were only the 2 Culkins.
No, and there was a sister who passed away, and there was. I think there's another brother.
Oh my God.
Because did you see the SNL thing with Kieran where he was on the show and he was like basically like uppy because Macaulay was getting all the attention, and I'm like, honestly, I'm the oldest child, so I get that.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, Macaulay. So I'm not necessarily here to talk to you about the Culkins, but clearly that's going to come up. No,
I'm sorry. Wait, you need to review my contract once again, because again, that was stipulated that we only speak of the Culkins.
5 things about the Culkins.
Well, and then I guess 8 minutes into the segment and we are done. Thank you so much for having us.
Yay.
So part of 5 things is if you haven't gleaned it yet, I'm going to be asking both Kyah and Andrea 5 things. Specifically, I'm going to be asking you 5 things about your time hosting the podcast. So the concept is they get to ask people that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you are the experts, but people that you admire, or people within the industry, within comedy, or within your field of creativity that you want to speak to and ask them about their experience in the industry, their progress, and what they've come up against. It's your chance to sort of glean nuggets of truth. And so I'm going to do a similar thing with you both today, but it's gleaning like your time, not just hosting the podcast, but also like I want to talk to you, and we'll get more specific into it, just like how your view of your career and your approach to what you do, it changed maybe based on certain conversations. We'll get into that. But this is just little teasers for the people watching of what this is about. But 5 things is called that because it's based on an improv game. We are comedians and improvisers. We can think quickly on our feet. So it's a warm-up game. And so I think, as is a tradition, I want to warm up with a round of 5 things. Usually the host does this by themselves, but the 3 of us are here. And I was going to call on either Mariana or Mike, if they could come on the microphone and give us a suggestion of 5 of something to talk about 5 things with. Just a quick fire thing, like maybe it's a type of food, or maybe it's an occupation, or maybe it's that's how I get gets. So if either one of you, here comes Michael.
The drama.
Michael, what's our 5 things?
It's gone forever. Okay.
Okay, no, I put him there because I told him a bit ago that I'm going to take a quick break, and he's like, no worries, I got this. And then I popped him up on the screen, but I don't think he has earbuds in, so I don't think he knows what anyone is talking about.
Fabulous.
And yeah, I caught him at a bad time.
That's okay.
So,
you give us
sorry, I'm here.
You run for your break.
No, what am I doing? I'm doing a suggestion.
We're going to do a round of 5 things, and we just need a one-word suggestion to expand upon, to do 5 things about. So it could be a food or an animal or a concept, anything you're thinking.
Okay. I'm watching on my television, and it's on a slight delay, and that came back to bite me. But I'm here.
You do a suggestion.
Need a suggestion, like a word?
Sure.
Okay, platypus.
Platypus. Great. Okay, this is great. Thank you so much, Mike.
That's so good.
Thank you so much. So based off what just happened, we're going to take 5 things you didn't expect Mike to say, okay? That's what we're going to go with. Because of all the things I thought he would say, I didn't think platypus. So of all the suggestions that Mike could have said, what were you thinking of the least? For me, 5 things I was thinking the least. I would probably say something about air particles. I'm gonna say hover cars. Not that I think that we're not all thinking about it. It's just you don't always bring it up in conversation.
Sure, yeah, you keep that to yourself.
You keep that to yourself mainly. I didn't expect him to say anything about the Cold War. I feel like why bring that up? It's not a good time.
Sure.
I also feel like I didn't expect him to give any sort of financial advice, even though we could use it, but he never does offer it up. So. And one of the least expected things Mike could have said was kuwapapa.
I didn't see it coming. Yeah.
No.
I never thought that would happen. Yes.
Didn't even think you were going to say it just now.
No, exactly.
Surprised me.
Yeah.
Andrea, what about you? Do you have any, do you want to do a quick 5?
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to ask us 5 things about Downton Abbey. I didn't think he was
disappointing.
No, I
have opinions.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to ask us 5 ways to make candles. I didn't think he was going to ask us about 5 fake flowers I have in my house. And I didn't think he was going to ask us about ways to dry your body. And and the final thing that I totally think he would never ask us is about how to create a microwave in 5 steps.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyah.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to ask us 5 things about Kieran Culkin because I think we touched on that.
We did touch on that, yeah.
But I wish he had. I don't think he was going to ask me 5 things about myself because that's your job, Shannon, and that would have been it would have really thrown off the flow of the show.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was going to ask 5 things about Andrea either. Same reason. I didn't think he was going to ask any questions about you, Shannon, because the same thing. And I also don't think he was going to ask any questions about my contract because I don't think he read it. So,
no. Clearly, he didn't read it. He said 5 things. So, yeah, 5 things. Great.
Is that 6? I didn't count.
You know what? And that's the beauty of 5 things is at some point in the circle, someone does not the right number, and then only one other person goes. So,
you know what? An extra one. It's a charitable contribution, is what it is. Contribution.
Great. So I want to get into our actual big ticket 5 things now. And I have my first thing that I want to ask. Thing number 1 is, I don't know if this is too spicy already. Who was the person you were most excited to talk to? The guest you were most excited for? Did I do it wrong? No, Mike, you did it fantastically.
Perfect.
You did great, Mike.
You did great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. I'm putting you on the spot. I want to
The one we
direct you one by one, but I don't
most excited to talk to. Sorry.
Yeah. Who of your guests were you the most excited to talk to on your season?
That's hard to say. I would say for me it was either the first one, Anne Pornell, because she's a delight and a national treasure, as stated by CBC's Instagram.
Literally, she's certified official,
a national treasure,
and rightfully so,
stated by the CBC. And at the time, I was just like, well, that's cool. Now I talk to her all the time because we're both fans, along with my partner Steph, of BTS. So we have a whole group thread going. So the excitement remains the same, but either that or my last guest, Ken Hall, who was just an absolute treasure.
Oh, sweet. Oh, yeah. Two
Kyah, you had very good guests. You had very good guests.
Yeah.
You had very. I
think we've all had very good guests.
No knocking on my guests at all. But I enjoyed your guests.
Not like my shit guests.
No. My guests so far are 10 out of 10. So
far, you wait.
So far, it's the night is early.
We're going to head on a guest battle here. So.
Okay, I have a long and winding story about why my guest was my favorite guest because
I'm excited.
Okay, I lived in Calgary and I was working in oil and gas and I was really depressed and I hated my job. And I saw that Avicii music video with Anessa Frantowski in it, where she was working in an office and then she has this a wild dream that she goes and lives her dream life and then she ends up getting hit by a bus in the end. And something about that video really was I gotta change my life. And so when I met her doing improv shows, I could barely speak because I was like, this lady changed my life. So, and I was always really awkward when I saw her at improv shows. So I was like, please come be on my show so I can have a conversation with you. And yeah, she was a delight. So yeah, I would say that was just a very special guest for me. Yeah, personally.
Oh, that's so great. I love
lovely.
That. Yeah, that's a really lovely encounter, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm a big fangirl, and that's the approach I took to the season I did. I just wanted to fangirl all over people in a professional setting,
in an acceptable public setting.
Yeah,
I would say that's the literal premise of the podcast. Is fanning out, respectfully so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Not at a comedy bar going.
Can I buy you a drink? Yeah. Oh, you're gone. Okay, bye.
The mist waves, all the mist waves.
They don't know.
We're all just doing physical comedy on this podcast.
Yes, this podcast.
I have a story. I know that's what I keep thinking too. I'm like, it's a physical fit, but they can see us.
Hand gestures.
story of like when I was still relatively like trying to figure out who I was within the comedy scene. I thought Brandon Hackett was very funny. And so one time I was on a bus the same time as him and I saw it was him and I was like, oh, it's Brandon. Like, I don't want to bother him. So I was on the other side of the bus. But then after a while I was like, it's pretty clear I'm on this bus. It's pretty clear he's on this bus. Do now I look rude? And then it turned out we were going to the same destination. And so when I got off the bus and we're all doing hellos and he's like, hello, Shannon. I was like, I'm just going to come clean. I saw you on the bus and I figured you don't want me to talk to you. You don't want me to just bother you. And he was like, please say hello to me if you see me on the bus. And it was the most humiliating, but also like one of the most freeing moments of my life. Cause I was like, I was just honest. And he was like, just say hi. And I was like, yeah, it's that simple. Huh.
That's what they say, but I don't believe it because I have yet to encounter the simplicity of talking to people.
Yeah. I was just thinking, this happened to me not long ago. Like going back, re-emerging into society, and you're just like, hey everybody.
Hey, anybody want to talk about our depression? No, that's not a fun topic. Okay.
The amount of jokes I've made cracks about Brandon. I love Brandon Hackett. If you don't know him, is very funny. We've mentioned some really amazing people. So I'm going to recap them all. We've talked about Ann Pornell, absolute treasure. We've talked about Ken Hall, treasure. We've talked about Anessa Frantowski, treasure. And we talked about Brandon Hackett.
Treasure.
What are we, pirates just with our treasure? You see what I did.
Yes.
But very funny people. It's intimidating to talk to people that you admire, like people that you're like, oh wow, I want to be like you, and at the same time you also want them to like you. So when you get caught in that conversation of like trying to like just have casual conversation, but you can feel your voice getting like caught in your throat and you can feel yourself getting like weird and asking questions and literally saying things that you know are so cliche to say, like literally being like, so how's your morning been?
Yeah. Wow, this weather, hey?
Yeah.
Oh,
did you have to walk here? Did you take you have a car? Cool.
Cold. I mean, it's cold outside of your car, but you were in your car, so.
Yeah. I was just gonna say there's such a like thin line between for me to this day, anxiety and excitement. And I tried to lead with excitement. And actually that was some of the advice Anessa gave on the show, was just like go and try to like lead with happiness and excitement. And I'm like, that's a lot better than the dark fear that I'm sometimes also feeling inside. So yeah, that's how I try to, I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, maybe people think I'm frantic, but if they knew how brave I was to just talk to them.
That's what I've learned. And this is a great segue into my next thing, which I'll bring up in a minute. Because this reminds me of something that you said to me, Andrea. And I think you, not to overmention people, but I think you said you heard this from Ann Pornell. But you repeated this to me one time. And I've really stuck it in my brain of like, you know, if you're on stage with the person and you feel like, I'm going to be bad. It's like, just assume you deserve to be on stage with them. Like you're on stage with them. So you have every right to be on that stage and jump in and play and make an offer.
Yeah. And Pornell taught me self-worth, honestly. She introduced me. She gave me chapter 1, and honestly, I am indebted to her. Yeah.
National treasure.
National treasure.
Yes.
Secondhand, I have taken it. Yeah. So that segues me into thing 2. Thing 2 is, what's something that a guest said to you during the course of your podcast that's really stuck with you? Something that really did, I don't want to make it so intense, high stakes. If it had changed everything about you, but just something you took away from it that still sticks with you. Is that too broad? Is that too broad of a question?
No, I think it's interesting because I don't think I can target something specific, like nothing that would be worth like crocheting onto a pillow, you know, like that vibe. But I like nothing that specific, but I can say that my conversation with Ken Hall just like really shifted my perspective on just the world, because he is one of the most dynamic speakers I've ever seen do the speaking thing, and B, his perspective on the world is just so unbelievably optimistic, but not like carelessly optimistic, not naively optimistic. He just has this idea of the world as something full of opportunity and full of like merit and full of beauty and full of like beautiful mistakes. And like it's so much of that is built into sort of the culture and the ideas behind improv, but he like really, really, really lives it in a very distinct way where you just feel him embracing things as they are and not as you want them to be. And that is something that I strive for. And I think about Ken Hall. Oh, I'm showing you my cards, Ken. I think about Ken Hall all the time when I'm getting like too down on myself or too like caught up in bullshit, where I'm just like, I mean, how would Ken Hall feel about this?
That's so great. I like that. I like yeah, seeing something in someone else that you armor yourself with.
Yeah. Guys got a superpower.
Yeah.
So great.
It's so true about what you said about Ken. He like feels like improv, you know, like when somebody like feels like improv when you're around them, and it's just like so joyous to be next to them because they are. Yeah, you're so like, right about Ken.
Anything could happen, and isn't that great?
Yeah.
If improv were a person, it's Ken Hall.
Yeah,
100%.
In a good way.
I agree with that. In a very good way. No, it's all the best parts of improv. Like if you were to boil down what you saw as like the mostest bestest parts of improv, you distill a Ken Hall for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I said mine before about okay, because like when I was doing 5 things, TBH, I was in a pretty dark place mentally. Surprise. And so everybody kind of just reminded me about like the joy of what we do and like how lucky we are to get to do that and how fun it is to get to do what we do. So like Anessa, she said every situation she tries to go into that with like bringing like happiness and joy, not just to like improv scenes, right? Like to bring it in every situation she's in. And I've been trying to work on that. And that's like a voice that sticks in my head. Also Fat Al, I had Fat Al on and he's lovely. And he taught me how to rap. And I don't think I'm a cool person, but Fat Al made me feel really cool on his episode. And like, he just like, it's just a lot of fun to try new things with him. And like, he just has like this like joyful presence that really like makes you be present with him. And it just brought me a lot of like joy when I needed it. So thank you, Bad Dog, and thank you, Sonar, for like letting me, and Kyah, thank you for making the show, because like it just really, it came to me in a very like important time. So thanks.
That's great. I mean, I will have to give all the credit to Coco. It was her idea, and I was just very happy to be able to jump on board.
I love that. I love how this is all dovetailing into what I wanted to talk about. Thank you both.
You're welcome.
It's a show of hosts.
It's a show of hosts. It's perfect. It's just we're all just teeing it up perfectly. But yes, absolutely. A shout out to Coco Galore, who is the artistic director of Bad Dog Theater right now and is the creator of Bad Dog Comedy TV. She pivoted hard when Bad Dog was being faced with some difficult stuff. As we all know, during the pandemic, it was very hard in the arts, especially. And I still think like I mean, on a global scale, I don't mean within our scene. I still think it's one of the smartest things any theater company did is not just do like, oh, we'll do Zoom shows or online shows, but like really put the production value and still curated it like a season. And I think it gave a lot of us, like Andrea, you were saying, it gave a lot of us something in a time when we felt like we lost everything. It does boost a lot to suddenly have someone reach out to you to say like, hey, you are valuable and we want this from you. Or it's the same with like in Sonar is the same, you know, I'm going to make a podcast and these people want to put on something that I'm producing. I have an outlet and something to focus on. That's not, you know?
Yeah, totally. It made us feel like the community we were a part of didn't just like Thanos out of existence, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was an anchor.
Yeah. It was an anchor. And Coco, she did something I'm surprised more theaters didn't do it, just copying what she did. But like she did something like revolutionary, I think. And I hope the world was watching her because it's so cool. It's so cool how what she did and how we got to play with different people from all over and stuff.
She saw the potential in it in a big way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into my thing number 3, and I'm curious because the reason I want to ask this is because this is something I struggle with, and Andrea, you sort of touched on it a bit, is what did, that's not how I want to ask it. When you
got this.
When you are people like us who work in the arts, where a lot of our goals are very like abstract, right? It's not a clear, it's not like with some careers, it's like you do this and then you do this and then you do this and then you do this and you end up here and that's what you're saying and this is your path and you go. With our industry, it's a lot of like, you want to do this, you can try all of these ways. Like,
good luck.
Go and see.
Yes.
So I know that we are multifaceted people. We've had to pivot and learn multiple skills, whether it's performing live on stage, writing things, or learning to pivot and do stuff for social media or get on board with the social medias. Or in this case, what was your experience in taking your knowledge as a creator and putting it into a podcast? How was that different than the other types of projects you had done? What new challenges did it give you? What new things did you learn? Not even just from a interview guest perspective, but just like as a creator, a showrunner for a podcast.
Good question. Good question. Yeah. You go ahead, Kyah. Go ahead. 'Cause I'm still formulating.
It's interesting because, like, as somebody who has done a lot of their performing live, that's something where you get immediate feedback, right? And immediate feedback is useful because if you're somebody who enjoys pivoting based on what you're hearing, what you're getting back, then you can be like, oh, that's what you think is interesting? Great, we're going to double down. I hear everybody is like reacting big to me talking about Kieran Culkin. I'll keep bringing it up. But when when you're on a podcast like right now, you can't really tell whether that's annoying or it's working. And I think that when you're doing podcasts, when you're doing things like that, you don't have the audience as a gauge or as a guide. So from a creative perspective, you have to start trusting yourself more. You have to start trusting yourself that what you're saying, the direction you're going, what you're putting on the, I don't want to say on the page, but that's what you're saying, what's being recorded is relevant and working. And you just have to create a better gauge for yourself on that.
Yeah, 100% agree. I was almost out of my head. I'm like an anxious person. I have low self-confidence, and getting the laughs from the audience is very it fills my tank, and I'm like, oh, people like me. Oh my God, thank God. And then when that was gone, it was do I think I'm funny? Do I think do I think I'm engaging? Is there a reason I'm doing this in the first place? Right? It was all very much bringing it back to me and not for the validation of other people. And it was very strangely empowering. I feel like I'm leaving the pandemic a very different person because of doing comedy online, honestly, because you're exactly what you said, Kyah. It builds a confidence in your performance style because you have to trust yourself, right? Yeah.
You start having to be the authority on what's working. You don't I mean, and not to say it's not a good skill, being able to riff and ride the wave. I love that feeling of riding a wave of an audience, of figuring out I thought we were going to go here, but they don't seem to want to go here. So I love that ride.
Yeah.
And I think I also struggled with, especially what you both said about, and Andrea, I totally relate to the validation from the audience. When I think of myself before the pandemic and how badly I needed to do shows as much as I did, at the time telling myself, well, this is how you pay your dues. This is how you get better. This is how you improve. And taking any show that wanted me, because I felt as soon as I stopped taking them, people will stop asking me because I'm not actually good. I'm just relevant at the moment. And as soon as I stop being relevant, no one's going to ask me because no one actually likes me. It's just so they just know of me and they need to think of someone, and I was an easy grab. That's that. Yeah. And I didn't think that at the time. At the time, I'm like, oh, this is how you build. This is how you go up. And now when I look back on that and I think about that, I'm like, I needed that every night to get those laughs, because otherwise I would be like, I'm not funny. I haven't been on stage and no one's laughing at me. And suddenly you're in just a vacuum of just your own thoughts of you thinking something's funny, but you're not trusting if it's funny because there's no one there to laugh at it.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not funny. Other people are funny, and I'm just smart enough to pick up. I'm tricking everyone into thinking I'm doing this.
Yeah. It like really brought also like the essence of improv back when I was like doing improv, because there was nobody there but who you're improvising with. And it's about us having a fun time and us like doing what we're doing. And like as much as the audience is there and yes, like they tell you where to hit it and stuff, it's improv is about connecting in the present with people you're on stage with.
Yeah.
And we had no choice but to be with the screen in front of us, and like it was like weirdly playing some like weird Sims video game with yourself. And like, you know, like trying to like function in but yeah, it just brought back to the basics of like what we do, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It suddenly is like it's just focusing on what you're thinking, and you start to feel, and I like what you said, Kyah, you start to get a little bit more confidence than that, because I did start to feel after a while like I would do stuff with no feedback and it would work, and I'd be like, I started doing things less with like, oh, this is stupid, and like rereading it being like, no, this is what I do, I'm going to figure this out. Maybe it won't be great, but that's okay. Like, I feel like my attitude is very much turned into like, I don't know, like I'm going to just try it, and who gives who cares, you know?
Look, I, like many other people, just watched the Beatles documentary Get Back. And what I learned from that is all creators are just a bunch of people in a room doing stuff and making decisions. That's it. That's it. Everybody's doing their best. All people are just people. Everybody can make anything. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to remember that in the moment, but the reason the Beatles are the Beatles is because they just kept getting in rooms and doing things and making decisions. That's it.
Yeah.
That's so good, Kai. Let's be in my noodle all day now.
I mean, I say this out loud because I have to scream it at myself every, I want to say 12 days or so.
12 days.
When I go back into the cycle of, no, but I know nothing. What am I doing? Why am I even here? Should I just become a barber or something? I don't know. But eventually, like, you just have to keep telling yourself, like, everybody's just doing it. Just do it.
Yeah, that's truly, honestly, it's just showing up. It's showing up. It's you have an idea and you push it till it's through. And I think also letting go of the huge fantastical outcome that you want. Like what I tell people that it's like who want to get into the arts, and it's like, if your aim is to do it because you want accolades and attention, it's not going to make you happy. You will get accolades and attention at times, but it wanes and it comes and goes. But if you're doing it because and it sounds so hokey, it's not even like expressing yourself, but if there is something in you need to express, if there's something you want to make because you are excited to make it and you want to put it out in the world and hope, sure, absolutely, you want to hope other people like it and are into it as much as you do, but the focus has to be that you enjoy what you're doing and that you feel good about it.
Fall in love with the process, not the end result, because that took me a long time to understand, because I was very much falling in love with the end result and doing the process and being frustrated by it, and like still get frustrated by it sometimes, but after doing that enough times, I realized that the process is the thing. It's the thing, that the end result is not the point, and if you make it the point, you'll never ever be happy as a creative.
Yeah, totally. And we can get so trapped into like the algorithms and likes and viewership and all that stuff, and like that, it steals your joy. If that's what you're focusing on, it's going to steal your joy from what we do. So
there's some creative things I almost never put online or show anybody, because I don't want them to be for anybody else but me. And I know as soon as people start liking it, I'll be like, oh, now I need to do it for attention.
The pressure.
Now people need to like it. Do people like this? Is this bad? And then it goes down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then I end up running away. Kyah, yes. Anya says, yes.
I'm just repeating what wiser people have said.
Yes. It's wise words. And I like, so we're getting into like thing 4. I'm trying not to like, I don't want to like make you share your deepest, darkest, but I do want to get into a little bit of like, how, based on everything we're talking about, based on your time talking to people and doing the podcast, and we've already sort of talked about it, so we can just sort of explain it. But my thing number 4 is like, how do you combat the fear and the feeling of like not falling behind, being successful, versus finding that happiness for yourself? How do you find a fulfillment for yourself in what you do? And I know we talked about like, don't seek the exterior validation, but I just mean, I feel like something I struggle with a lot is I never know if I'm doing too much or not enough. I never know if it's like I'm being too hard on myself or I'm being too easy on myself. You got to work harder and really go for what you want, versus you got to know when to take a rest. Oh, but you've rested too long now. Now you've rested too long and now you're just sitting on your laurels. Oh, give it a minute. You just did this thing. What are you calm down. You've got all the time in the world. I never can find that balance.
Why can't I be more disciplined? Why can't I be kinder to myself? Those two sides of it.
Those things that cause us to find into our dark times. And I know, Andrea, you sort of brought up that like you, and I related to what you said about like that podcast. When you did it, it gave you something. And I felt the same way, especially like earlier this year before I started really working with Bad Dogs. I just felt so listless and like no one cares. No one cares. If I were to stop doing anything, if I were to disappear tomorrow, people might eventually be like, whatever happened to? But no one would care. And it's having that focus gives you that feeling. And how do you...
I
guess, yeah.
So you said something before, and I was exactly where you were before the pandemic happened, of doing every show, like doing every show. I cannot say no to people. That is something I'm working on to this day, saying no to people. So I was doing every show, and I'd be sitting there and I'd be exhausted because I was up since 7 a.m. working my like day job. And I'm like, I would be, why am I here? I don't want to be here. And I'm like, this isn't why I do improv, to be like sulking in the back because I'm tired and stuff. So I'm like, I
have 5 minutes on a show where someone just makes you their mom.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't, and then zooming back to somewhere else, like running around, not getting any sleep, not taking care of myself. I thought I was happy, and I was like, this is my dream life. And like, as everything stopped, I really had to like look at my life again. And then I also had to like just advocate for myself. So I'm like, I've taken the responsibility of money out of my art. I am focused. I have something to make money during my day, and I'm focusing on my art as like, it's my self-expression. It's my soul. It's like who I am in the inside. It's not like for sale in a way anymore. And I felt like I was just hustling and hustling. I don't know what I was even aiming for at the end there. And I just felt like, gross on the inside. So now I feel rejuvenated about comedy because I just feel, I don't know, good with myself now. I feel like I know what I want. I know what I like. I know what I'm going to like accept. I don't know. I think spending a lot of time by yourself just really forces you to reevaluate why you're doing things. Yeah. That was a spiral of thoughts.
I related to every single one of them. I'm mulling them over because I was like, Andrea is just describing my same mental journey.
Mine's gonna be a spiral of thoughts too. So let's all spiral together.
Spiral, baby.
Yeah. I think for me, and this kind of can go for life too. It's at its most toxic, living a like life as a creator when you only chase good feelings. And you can't sit with the stuff that's hard, because the thing is like, I've been performing since I was a child. Like my mom put me in drama when I was like 4 and I never stopped doing it. Like there were years on and off where I was doing other things, but performing has always been something that I've been really comfortable with, but I still get nervous like almost every time I do it. Even though at this point I've probably done, and like these are over a range from like improv shows with 4 people in the audience to like kids shows to like whatever else. I've done all sorts of dumb stuff, not playing in front of like massive theaters or anything, or massive audiences, but I always get nervous anyway. Like I still remember being in high school and doing one of my final plays and thinking like, oh man, I'm so fucking nervous. I can't remember a single one of my lines. But then you go on stage and you say your lines and you do it anyway. And that fear is an important part of the process. It's the same thing that happens with writing. It's the same thing that happens when you're looking at a blank page and you're you're about to draw something. There's always going to be a fear. And the fear is important because the fear means you care. And if you always avoid the fear, then it's not going to do anything for you. If you only ever chase the things that feel good, you're never going to develop. So that's the thing for me, is that like eventually you just have to learn to embrace it as a part of the process. And that if you're staring at a blank screen and you're like, I'm an idiot, I can't think of anything, I'm never going to be able to write something again. Good. It means you care. Lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice, Kyah. Thank you.
I like that.
These are just the things I have to tell myself. Again.
Honestly, can you call, when you're talking to yourself, just call me. Say the same.
Sure,
Let's have a group call.
Let's get a group chat going. Just motivational speeches.
Honestly.
This is something that like I'm relating very much to what you're both saying, because like I think the same as you, Andrea, it's like I have a hard time saying no, because if I say no, then I'm a bad person. And I've gotten so much better at advocating for myself. Advocate for myself.
You have to.
You have to. And I've gotten very good at just saying no to something. Like if someone asks me to do something, I put it through a filter of, do I really want to do this? Like, is this person asking me, does it make me excited, or does it make me go, let me see if I can, I guess I should. Because if it's the second one, you're saying no. Do I like the person asking me? Do I trust them? Do I feel comfortable around them? And is this show going to give me an opportunity that really is going to make a difference for me? And that opportunity could just be a night out to play with people on a stage. That's totally acceptable. Or, is it going to challenge me or give me skills? But I found myself doing so many, and like, I don't mean to be dismissive, but there are times where I would run to do a show that I've been asked to spin on, and then I'm on stage with people who are still learning and still starting out in improv. And it's not that I can't play with anyone, and it's not that it's not fun.
Of course you can.
Of course you can. But I was hitting a point where I was feeling like I wasn't advancing, and I was being told by certain people that I wasn't allowed to be part of things because they needed me to advance in certain ways. So then I would go do these shows to try and advance, but it was all just, it felt like me doing scene support for other people to advance, which after a while I was like, I feel like I'm just giving, I started saying, I'm like, I feel like everyone just wants a piece of me. And that's something that I've really stuck onto, and I've really ruminated on over this pandemic, because I realized that like I didn't know what I was feeling at the time, and the only way I could verbalize it was everyone just wants a piece of me. And now that where I'm at, I'm like, oh wow, I feel like that is very accurate for someone who had no clue what they were feeling at the time. And I just felt like it was easy to ask me to do stuff because I was reliable, and because I do care, and I do really throw out a lot of energy when I'm on stage, and it allows other people to be able to be softer and not care as much. And that's a piece of me that people started to rely on and depend on, that I didn't want to start giving out anymore, because it felt like my well was getting pulled from and I wasn't getting anything back. And, to go do a show where it's like, whatever, I'm just playing with people on stage, is fine. But when it's like, I want to go and I want to feel like I'm good and I did a good job and I'm proud of my work. And instead I just felt like I gave out so much and got so little back.
Yeah, totally.
It's exhausting. So I started putting it through that filter of do I want to do this? Do I know and trust this person? And am I going to grow and am I going to get something out of this experience? And if it doesn't hit these three things, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar metric that I stole directly from Ashley Como, who has had an amazing career. And so I, stole her wisdom straight out of her brain. She said it out loud. Anyway, the point is that her thing is, does it pay well? Is it creatively fulfilling? And is it fun? Those are the three things. And if it has to meet two of the three things. So maybe it doesn't pay you very well, but it's very creatively fulfilling. So it'll be good for your resume. You'll grow as a performer, whatever, and it'll be really fun. Great. Do it all day. If it pays you really well and it's fun, but it's not creatively fulfilling, fuck it. Yeah. That's the metric that I've come to use, and it's served me well.
I've heard that metric too. And it's a smart one. Also, like, don't take no's personally yourself, and don't think that your no is going to be taken personally. That really helped me ease my social anxiety fear of like saying no and getting like a no in response. Like, it's not personal. Like, it's that person's process of like advocating for themselves and asking themselves these questions, and that's theirs. So like, I stopped taking things so personally. That's what I'm working on. Yeah,
super important.
This is gone. This is so great. We're going fast. So I like the time is flying by. Mike, we just got a 5-minute warning and I still have to ask thing 5, but it still is wrapping up on what we're talking about. So I'm content. We're just going to move into thing 5.
Let's do it.
My thing number 5 is, now that you are where you are, what is your personal hope for yourself creatively in the future? It could be anything, whether it be a project or just, your approach to things. What is something you hope for yourself? Selfishly, what do you want? Not for theater at large. People always answer that.
Wow, you only give us 5 minutes for this one, eh?
Uh-huh. Yep. Sorry.
All your hopes and dreams, go.
I can help. I can help by starting. I hope for myself going forward that I enjoy my day every day. That's what I want for myself. Even on my busiest days, I still want it to be something I enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm turning 40 in 2022, Ooh. So I'm really like, let's make some solid, specific goals for yourself. And because panicked, I want to be a cartoon. Like, that's the most specific goal.
That's a great goal.
I want to be a cartoon.
Yeah.
I live to be Maya Rudolph when I grow up. Thanks,
Yay,
Sonar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sonar.
And I just want to, like, I know laughter has like saved me and so like in times, several times in my life has saved me. So I just want to provide that relief to people in any way that I can. I would like to do that by being a cartoon though. Putting that into the universe.
Yes, you deserve it. I hope it for you.
Thank you.
All right, Kyah. So I've wished for happiness.
Great.
And Andrea's wished for immortalization. So your turn.
Mine is that I would like to learn to trust myself more as a person and as a creator. And in that sphere, I'm doubling them up. I'm cheating. In order to do that, I want to make some bigger mistakes faster. So I want to embrace the nosedive and just fuck things up more, and have to apologize more, and have to redo things more and break things more and do all of that stuff so I can sort of hit more potential than people expect of me.
Make bigger mistakes faster is something I would embroider on a pillow.
That I actually did get from Kyle Dooley because he was my first con teacher in Con 1 at Second City. And his rule in the first class was, I want to see you make big mistakes and make them fast.
Kyle Dooley. I'm putting it on a pillow.
Just turn it around and it's his face.
Yeah.
Embrace it, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make Kyle Dooley merch, not tell him. Wait for it to become a big deal, and then he's like, "What is this?" None of the
proceeds. Your pillow, Kyle. It's
my con class did do that. They not a bunch of merch, but we did make a duly noted T-shirt that I know he probably still wears to the gym. So there, it's out. It's out now.
I love it. I love it. Huge shout out to Kyle Dooley. This was a great time. I very much enjoyed this. I wish we could just keep chatting forever. But Mike is kicking us out. No, that's not true.
Mike, did you read my contract, Mike?
Yeah, Mike, did you read Kyah's contract?
Because in the contract, I get to go as long as I want to. Yeah, boo, Mike.
Boo, boo. But I want to thank you both so much. Thanks for coming and doing this roundtable with me and letting me pick your brains. I appreciate it. Thanks for talking about the Culkin family with me.
You're welcome.
And also for just validating my feelings about being a performer. But most of all,
that's what the group chat's for.
That's what the group chat is for. Yeah, that's what we got to have the group chat for. Most of all, I want to thank so much Coco Galore for producing and putting together 5 Things and for Bad Dog TV. And also tell everyone that you can listen to the Bad Dog Comedy Podcast. We're all 3 seasons of 5 Things, hosted by Kyah Green, Andrea Marston, and the current season, Ali Rasul. All of those are available on Sonar, who's our biggest thank you. Thank you so much for Marianne and Mike for putting together this marathon and for having us on and being a part of it. Boom, Mike! I love it. Kyah and Andrea, you're fantastic. I'm so happy you did this with me. And thank you everyone for watching. I'm just going to do a solid goodbye.
Bye.
See?